Hello and welcome to the Art of Action Figures. In this episode, we are talking all things Gohan, and in particular, we are going to be talking about the new Beast Gohan figure from SH Figuarts. This is a 2023 web exclusive or premium Bandai exclusive based on the first appearance of this new transformation for Gohan from 2022's Dragon Ball Super superhero movie. Let's talk about Gohan's character arc over the course of Dragon Ball, especially Dragon Ball Z. So we're first introduced to Gohan as a little toddler wearing this little hat getup. He has his Saiyan tail like his dad. There is no Figuarts representation of this exact look. There's a little figurine without the hat that was included with this year's event exclusive Raditz. If you were able to pick that one up, I did not. So for now, I just have this little chibi keychain, which Figuarts should not be referencing when it comes to the size of his head. Although they might be tempted given how they've scaled kid bodies in the past. The little figurine that comes with Raditz is more appropriately sized, I think, from what I've seen. But I do think it would be cool for them to make some figurine like this and maybe bundle it with a Flying Nimbus kit for Goku. Just have him in this hat sitting down. Either that or an articulated figure, if they can even pull that off. And maybe bundle that with an Icarus figure. So, Gohan here is abducted by an alien. He headbutts space armor, kidnapped by another alien, Piccolo. Wilderness, a mullet, befriends a robot, important details, giant ape, loses his tail, magic, clothes, feral little rugrat, more aliens, emotional trauma, an adventure into space. His mom says he has to get a haircut and finish his homework. Reasonable deal. Sharp looking bowl cut. Questionable homework. Goes to space. Pretty bad time. More aliens. Emotional trauma. Magic space guru. Unlocks all potential. It doesn't do a whole lot. Space armor. Back to Earth. Regrows the mullet. Magic. Purple outfit. Powerful androids. Time room with his dad. All of his potential. The Super Saiyan and an 11-year-old teenager, I think. New set of magic clothes. Stylish little cape. Watching his dad beat the evil Bugman. Goku has other plans. Evil Bugman to provoke all of his potential, threatens everything Gohan cares about, really cares about robots. Super Saiyan, beyond a Super Saiyan, the spikiest hair we've seen to this point. Loses half of his shirt to increase power. Kick Cell Jr. butt, Cell Senior butt, peaceful home life, real teenager. High school, a studious little nerd, gets distracted, becomes a Power Ranger, gets distracted by blackmail tournament, gets distracted by magic clothes, a really heavy sword, as there's a guy in it, underwhelming power up, all of his potential for real. The strongest in the universe, but still doesn't do crap, studies bugs, emotional trauma, evil Bugman, threatens everything he cares about is stretchy aliens. And so that's where Beast Gohan comes in. He really unleashes all of his potential and taps into the primal rage power that has been hinted at. That's how we get to Beast Gohan. Now, where does the design of this transformation come from? I think the first obvious reference point is his Super Saiyan 2 transformation. They emerge from similar circumstances, and they take on pretty similar hairstyles. Another detail here is these red eyes, which are a reference back to the Great Ape form, which has red eyes. And that makes sense, tying the Beast form to that Great Ape form. All right, now putting the Beast Gohan box side by side with the Ultimate Gohan. A couple similarities I want to point out. One is the gold accent color, which shows up both in the background, behind the figure, and behind the images that are printed on the front and the side. the gold color has been used on all of the superhero movie figures, which is interesting. I think it's the first time they've really done the same color for multiple characters. Typically, each character so far in this style of packaging has had their own unique color, which is based on something in their color palette usually. Now, this superhero line or subline has been a little bit special in that regard, with every figure getting the same gold treatment. Makes for something a little different. If you do like to display the boxes like I do, I display them from the side like books. I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but before I do that, I do also want to point out sometimes people toss action figure boxes, and if it's your collection and there's no reason you'd ever think about reselling some of your figures, I guess that's fine. Do what you want, save your space. I will say though, it shaves off, like in my experience, maybe 10% of the value, and it's not just because the boxes are collectible in themselves. They have, like I said, unique accent colors. There's some figure photography going on here. There's work that's gone into this, and it's not only that, but it is also for import figures a lot of the time, in Figuarts in particular, it is your certificate of authenticity. And so that's another reason why sometimes if you don't have the box for an import or a Figuarts figure, some of the value can be reduced. So I always try, I keep all of my figures stored in their boxes usually, and I'll take them out a couple at a time for videos or photography or displays. But I do always try to keep them. So one thing to note is they've changed the style of their authenticity seal. Since last year, they were using this larger circle, and now they are doing a smaller circle here. I don't know if that's for any particular reason, but another holographic sticker that usually a bootleg figure or a knockoff figure won't have is the Toei sticker. Let's see. And then sometimes third-party figures will not have, like Dragon Ball, Bandai, any of that branding, but knockoff, like true knockoff counterfeit figures that are just trying to imitate the real thing, they usually will just shamelessly print Dragon Ball, whatever they want. And you got to look out for that. So always look for seals of authenticity, holographic stickers on the boxes. Not every single Figuarts has it, but most of them will. And if you're not sure, there's plenty of social forums you can post on, figure out if something is legit or not. Okay, now I mentioned I like to display my figures along like this with the spines out, kind of like books, and it's because I like the effect of the accent colors when they're all lined up together. I think they look nice. I don't like when figures come with art that is incomplete and you need other figures to fill it in, so I like that each of these is self-contained. Some interesting things to note on this side: the Beast Gohan box is about 1.5 times the width of Ultimate Gohan box to mostly accommodate his hair. That's another thing that you will often see push a figure onto Premium Bandai, is if the box is a really strange shape. A number of retail stores will require your box to fit in a certain size to allocate that much shelf space for your figures. So it's not always the case. Sometimes bigger figures like Ginyu will go to, say, Barnes & Noble. But I don't think I've seen, for example, at Target, I don't think I've seen any figures that don't have this box shape, personally. Now, there might have been some in the past, but that's been my experience. So anyways, that's just a comment on one reason why you might see something on Premium Bandai like Beast Gohan, even though he's a very popular character, a new form for a very popular character, they don't always want to do the distribution for weird or irregular box shapes. Anyhow, spinning around to the back, if you don't know how to pose figures, these photos on the back are usually a good starting point. They give you kind of an array of poses that you can use with the accessories. They'll show you the different accessories that are included. Usually, I try to notice if there are accessories included that aren't shown here. I don't think there are for Beast Gohan here. So he has, let's see, how many faces? 4 Beast Gohan faces and then an Ultimate Gohan face. So let's count them up. He's got the neutral face, the gritting teeth. You know what? I'm thinking maybe the smirking face. It's there. Okay. Yeah, it's just really small. So you can see all of the faces are shown on the box. I don't know if the same is true for the hands. I don't pay as much attention to the hands. Maybe not each hand, but maybe one from each pair at least. Let's see. We also see the little write-up here, not about the character, but about the figures themselves. You won't really get much detail about like character bios or anything like that on these Figuarts boxes. So that's where my video comes in the earlier part. But they do point out that SH in SH Figuarts is an abbreviation of Simple Style and Heroic Action. Which by that, I think what they mean is simple style, meaning doesn't look too cut up, like a Reveltech figure or a model kit. And heroic action is the other side of that, which is the high posability. Let's see. Moving on. The other side of the box is not very interesting. It just has side window. The name of the character is printed in a barely readable silver font. Is it silver or is it black? It's hard to tell. I think it's silver, but this side of the boxes is not very exciting to me. I definitely think this is the way to go if you're going to display them like that. Let's see. And then you also have the option to stack them like that. And that's what the bottoms look like. So now taking a look at the front once again, I wanted to point out another detail, or sort of another piece of history with this figure. This was one of the first promotional photos shown for Beast Gohan. And it might have been the first time that we saw he was going to have a soft overlay torso. There was some speculation that the overlays would be removable and there would be a complete sculpted torso under there. Similar to kind of how the Super Battle Collection did things back in early Dragon Ball action figure days. It's kind of come to pass, but other people have shown that if you remove this, 1, it's glued at the back, and 2, he doesn't have like a full-sized torso. His abdomen in particular is shrunk so that the shirt overlay can be better, tighter fit. And let's see. It looks a little strange, so I wouldn't recommend it. But if you need a slightly smaller than this adult torso body, maybe it could work for something. But yeah, overall, they didn't really design it to be removable, so I'm not going to go for that myself. But when I saw this promotional photo, really I was more worried than excited about the torso being covered in this overlay shirt because you can see here, like, this is their photo to promote this as a product that they've spent time designing and engineering, and he's pulling off the finishing move that he uses in this form, which is kind of like, it's not around, this particular form is not around in the movie for very long, so it's like one of the few things he does while in this form, and I think it's pretty important to get that right. And you can see here he is struggling to reach across his chest and touch his arm like he's supposed to when he fires the attack. Now, the reason that concerns me is this Gohan can do that no problem. The range of motion in the shoulders is excellent, and I'll demonstrate that once we take these out. But this, the fact that it's in a promotional image tells me this is someone professionally posing this as a product to promote it, and it's not hitting the pose, basically. Like, imagine Goku with a Kamehameha on the front of a package and his hands are like this far apart. It would just be silly, right? Yeah, so I was hesitant to celebrate the move to this overlay torso design, and we'll see how he does after we take him out of the package. So let's go ahead and do that. I've already opened him. Obviously, I had him out earlier in the video. This was not filmed before that. Just cut the tape with scissors or a knife carefully, and if you are like me and don't want any wrinkles on the inside of the flap, what I do, I have my little hobby knife here, and very carefully use an adult or an adult brain if you've got one. Put the blade under the flap, push towards the back of the box to get this piece of the flap over the inner flap, and then you can just flip the flap open with the side of the blade. Be very careful doing this. Now, a couple of things inside the package I want to cover really quickly, because I actually love what they're doing now. As someone who, like I said, keeps most of the figures in the boxes a lot and is changing them in and out periodically, number one, you can see the inside of the cardboard is now gold, which is not only like really nice looking, but also very functional compared to Superhero Gohan here, who has just plain cardboard. The gold printing on the inside makes for like a full surrounding effect on the figure, and it means that to create the background color, there's no extra insert. So if you don't know, these background pieces are just like a cardstock printed with the accent color. And then behind that, sometimes you'll have, let's see, a couple things. So all of this paper was included in the Superhero box. We've got the accent color background card, promotional flyer for the Figuarts line, if you didn't know. What is awesome about it, there's a little QR code there that I think probably takes you to the Tamashii Nation's website, where you can actually read some interesting blog posts about Beast Gohan and other figures. There's also a little ad here for Premium Bandai with a bunch of figures that are no longer available there. And then you get a little instruction page that shows you how to change the faceplates and the hands, or any of the alternate accessories usually. There's, I don't know if this QR takes you to the Tamashii JP / Torisetsu. This one probably takes you to the survey, and then this one takes you to another survey, I guess. I've never actually gone to that and filled out the survey, so yeah, maybe we'll do that another time. But sorry, main point, 3 pieces of paper in the superhero Gohan box, and then behind that just plain cardboard. And the problem I have with it is, yes, it creates a nice, like, solid background color, but if you look inside, the plain cardboard is not as exciting, and if you are sliding this tray in and out, it tends to just snag on that paper a lot of the time. And so the paper can get wrinkled, or otherwise just kind of gets in the way. And it also can snag on the back of the tray if you are taking the tray out of the package. Now, it's not happening right now, but if it does, it will like either pull the background paper out or just fold it, which then you've got folded paper and you can't have that. The way they're doing it with Beast Gohan and some of the other newer figures now is printing the solid background color on the cardboard itself. It is no longer a single, like, solid background. There's a line where the fold occurs, but I think the trade-off is definitely worth it to have nothing getting in the way when you're sliding the tray in and out. Now, that also means there's no instruction paper printed out. So here is the solution that they've come up with, which is just print the instructions on the inner sleeve. It is going to be on the right side of the box if you're looking at the front. The left side of the box will not have anything. I think that kind of encourages you to open it from the right side, which also helps to avoid folding and unfolding this plastic window, which will weaken the plastic over time and could tear it. Obviously, the same can happen to cardboard, but I don't know if it will happen as quickly. But you can see the instructions here. It shows you how to swap his crossed arms and how to use the special beam cannon. There is a stand included for that, and then it also details the optional face part is the one with black eyebrows, and it's for Superhero Ultimate Gohan, sold separately. So that's why he is shown here. Alrighty. Now, Superhero Gohan is coming at the lowest price point for Figuarts. So his tray is pretty bare. Pretty good amount of empty tray. It's just flat with no accessory in it. And you can see that the Beast Gohan here is pretty stacked in terms of accessories. So he has this rather long special beam cannon effect, the stand, the prop for the stand, figure himself obviously, and then 4 total faces for Beast Gohan, 1 for Ultimate Gohan, 4 sets of alternate hands with 1 for each side, and then a single 2 finger pointing hand for when he's charging his attack. Now, also, this is the crossed arm piece, and I can demonstrate how to put that on once we get him out. All right, but another thing, I always want to open these top up because unlike some figures, the accessories are not held in place by the plastic. And so if you take the lid off while it's upright like this, they're all just going to fall out. So definitely lay it flat on the back like this. There's a little tab on the side you can use to lift the tray. It's usually best to open the side with all of the hands and small parts first because they're more likely to fly out. And we'll go ahead and take the 2 figures out and stand them side by side. Then we'll go over the differences in the body that they're using. So let's go ahead and get him somewhat natural looking here. Okay, now standing them side by side, one thing I like about the 3.0 body is how naturally you can pose the arms and legs, meaning kind of straight up and down. A lot of the time, action figure joints are not quite precise enough to let you put the arms straight up and down. Sometimes they tend to look like this, kind of in a V versus just together. The 3.0 body does a really nice job with straight up and down. I know it's not the most exciting pose for action figures, but sometimes you want to do this for photography, or if you're out there with just a bazillion figures and you want to line them up like stoically staring at you, you can do that as well. And they look really good doing that. So I showed how good Ultimate Gohan is with the neutral, relaxed limbs. So let's see about Beast Gohan. Very nice joint quality on this figure. It's probably the smoothest 3.0 body that I've got from Figuarts to this point. The other is maybe Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Krillin, Earth's Strongest Man. Those maybe give this a run for its money, but I'll demonstrate what that means when we go over the range of motion and everything. Okay. You can see first difference that might stand out is the brightness in the outfit here on Beast Gohan. There's just a bit of light purple or light gray highlight paint applied, and I think that's what's giving it just that slightly lighter tone. And compare that to Ultimate Gohan, who actually has some dark purple. So it makes for overall a slightly lighter purple on his costume, but not so significant. Just enough to maybe play on the fact that he's powered up in this form. He has a lighter aura that's more active, I guess. The heights on the figures are pretty much identical, and they still have kind of maybe a little bit too short of a neck on Beast Gohan here. The shorter neck works better when you can clearly tell that there's some trapezius going on back there. So I think that is what's maybe missing from Ultimate Gohan here, that makes his neck look a little short, is the bulk around the neck is like more his clothes than his shoulders, versus here you can clearly see his shoulders are bulging up, or trapezius bulging up here and going much higher into the neck than over here. So that's pretty nice. That's maybe one benefit of this torso piece. Let's see, what else? He has a taller chest, and you can see here it extends almost all the way down to the V, whereas Ultimate Gohan here ends right here, and then this is the top row of his abs. Let's see what else. Obviously, this one has been retooled on the legs for some battle damage, and then the shirt also has some scuffs, scratches, and tears throughout it. Since he's been through some battle at this point, there are little tears taken out of the pants legs, and then each is filled in with a skin tone paint. The paint matches the skin tone well enough for me. Not perfectly. It's definitely a little darker, but they're painting it over purple, so that makes sense. You can see some purple peeking through around the inner corner there. But it's good enough for me, I think. You really got to look for it. Let's see, there's another tear on the back. That looks pretty good. And then you can see there's some tears that don't go all the way through. They're just little rough edges, and those are still continued on the back of the torso. You can see all these scuffs and scratches. There's even some on the knee, it looks like, the back of the knee joint. I don't know if that's supposed to be there as a scuff or scratch sculpt, but it works okay. And so, yeah, all of the tearing and scratching on the costume here is unique for Beast Gohan. One thing that maybe isn't having the desired effect on the new torso is this hole. You can not really tell on camera that that's a hole until you get really close and get some light. But it's even hard to get light in there. And so I think that one, it doesn't lie close enough to the skin. And so a lot of people have looked at it and just said, why does he have a black square on his chest? Which is a reasonable question if you haven't seen like a 360. I guess that's the best way to demonstrate that the light moves differently in that square as he moves around. And so that's what tells your eye it's a hole. But it also, yeah, I think could be, I don't know what they could do. Maybe there's a thinner piece of the overlay in there that is painted similarly to how the legs are done. So maybe they don't cut through the overlay completely. They just cut out a little sliver of it and then paint the inside of that skin tone. Other aesthetic differences between the two. Skin tones, less reflective. So it's most apparent from the sides. See, so these two are pretty much in the same light right now. Let me rotate them even more so it's more pronounced. And we're going to zoom in. I'm going to put them at the same angle to the light as best as I can. And then we'll zoom in. And you can see the highlights on Ultimate Gohan are just ever so slightly hotter. They're toned down just a touch. And that's thanks to, I don't know if it's a slight little paint finish on Beast Gohan. His elbow is more shiny though. Let's see. Yeah. So if I put him where the reflection is maximum, it's about right there. And I'll do the same again for here. It's about there. So like on both here, there's some highlights. So This gets the effect of skin across a little bit better, although, like I said, it's not perfect. There's still some flash points right there. A little bit back here. You can see that sort of right angle or U-shaped highlight on Ultimate Gohan is not there on Beast Gohan. So that's probably the most obvious way to demonstrate that he has a little bit more of a matte finish, although his elbow is less matte than Ultimate Gohan. I don't know if the finish is more matte, if they've done some kind of coating, or if they've like sandblasted the plastic. Both have the same effect of roughing up the surface just a little bit so that the light diffuses as it bounces off of the form. And what that means for your eye is you don't get as much of the light concentrated coming at you from one angle, so you don't see as hot of high points. Okay, I think that similarly applies to his wristbands. Let's zoom back out here. Now let's take a look at them both from the back. Again, we see, I don't know whether these little scratches in his knee joints are intentional or if that's just part of the molding, but it has kind of the same effect as the scratches on the pants for Beast Gohan here. Ultimate Gohan doesn't have quite the scratches that Beast Gohan does. Again, you can see the slight difference in finish, especially if you look at the bottom of the pants. Like here, it's the same fold, but here that hot spot is way lower. Let's see. They both have a butt flap piece on the back of the waist, which I actually prefer to the 2.0 hips with those caps that they come with that look pretty segmented and strange. There's some difference in finish too on the back of the arms. I don't know if that's just the angle of the arms though. It's pretty subtle as well. The red belts look pretty much the same. This is maybe a little more saturated in the red. Let's see. And then the folds on the shirt. This is a new shirt sculpt on Beast Gohan, but they've mimicked at least some of the folds, like at the top. And then obviously this one in the middle of the back is here, but bigger, and it has a tear. And then these folds that go into the belt do look more complete and natural on Beast Gohan. So they both have a similar kind of like V style fold. That is the front and the back of the costume. Like if we look at the front of Ultimate Gohan and the back of Beast Gohan, where the shirt tucks into the belt, it makes a V shape usually on both sides. All right, let's see other differences. I don't really know why his chest is longer here. That might work anatomically. I'm not really sure exactly how far down the torso the chest goes compared to the abdomen, or like the best way to compare proportions is usually to use like some other kind of reference, like the bottom of the shoulder. So with respect to the bottom of the shoulder, the chest on Beast Gohan is a little below it, versus on Ultimate Gohan it's pretty much level. Another thing to note that I like about the 3.0 is even on Ultimate Gohan, the collar and chest piece is separate plastic as well. This is not painted. On 2.0 figures it was, but you can tell the difference because it is painted on the back for Ultimate Gohan, and that is very clearly a different skin tone compared to the chest piece. You can see the difference. That's not a shadow, that is just the difference in pigment there. So yeah, it's nice because it also creates a nice sharp line around the inside of the collar. But yeah, I mean, overall, this sculpt for the upper torso is really good. The shape of the shirt has a very similar shape to Ultimate Gohan, but he has kind of a extreme cut around his rib cage that is not here. And then similarly, cuts around the shoulders that are here, but they are less pronounced. So overall, the torso has a really nice sculpt on Beast Gohan, and you can see it's reducing the number of cuts on the body as a whole. It does unfortunately get in the way of the shoulder and torso movement. We'll talk about that as we go forward. And it still has some of the same cuts in the same places, like on the shoulders, but they are more hidden. If that's something you are looking for. The head sculpt, which has the Beast Gohan hair, very similar face. I don't know if the face is actually the same or if it's a new faceplate sculpt. It's really hard to tell. It could be the same or just a copy of the same model. Let's see, the ears. You know what? The ears are different, so that's interesting. You can see, if we zoom, the shape of Beast Gohan's ear has more of a point right there. I don't really know why they did that, but his hair, obviously much taller. He has this more pronounced bang versus this similar one, but smaller. And then you can see the difference in depth. I'll try to get Gohan, Ultimate Gohan here with the same angle for his hair. And you can see very exaggerated length or depth on Beast Gohan's hair, which I think is pretty accurate to the movie. I don't know, when I first saw this form from some angles, it was a bit comedic how long his hair was. This is probably one of the angles that takes some getting used to, but I have gotten used to it, and I think that Figuarts Tamashii have done a very good job representing this form accurately and making it look as cool as it can, I think. So good for them for doing that. This Gohan has the same problem that a lot of Figuarts figures will have, which is when you lower his head or angle it down, the faceplate tends to pop off. Let's see his hair from the back as well. One thing also notable, the soles of Beast Gohan's shoes are gray, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's more accurate to the movie. Ultimate Gohan's soles of his shoes are the same color as the rest of the shoe. Okay, that's it for visual differences, but there is one more difference to talk about between these two figures. And I mentioned that Beast Gohan here is probably the smoothest 3.0 body Figuarts figure. In my collection, he's up there with Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Krillin, Earth's Strongest Man, as far as like the smoothness and right amount of tension in the joints, nothing too tight, nothing too loose. I know some people had issues with Goku's ankles, maybe a couple other things here and there. But this one probably sits above those two, and definitely sits above Ultimate Gohan here, who, after applying a bit of shock oil to the hips and shoulders, sounds like this when you move him. Most of the joints on this guy squeaking an awful lot. Now, that's something that is kind of a nuisance if you are looking for a figure to have in your hands, if you're, say, like on a phone call or watching a movie, whatever. I like having a figure to just have something in my hands that I can manipulate. This one becomes a bit of a problem for me because of that squeakiness. Now listen to Beast Gohan here. All right, now obviously still some squeaks. Hopefully you can tell just how significantly quieter every single joint on Beast Gohan is. So I think the loudest joint that he has is probably the hips. That's probably the one they will be tuning the most going forward. But let's just have a quick comparison of those and then we'll move on. That is music to my ears. So, really nice little refinements on the 3.0 body here with Beast Gohan, I think. I don't know what exactly went into it, but that's a nice improvement. And like I said, this is Ultimate Gohan after his joints have had some shock oil put into them in the hips and the shoulders especially. Nothing on Beast Gohan. I haven't had to oil any of these joints. They've all been very smooth. So I hope everybody has the same nice experience. I don't know how much that varies from figure to figure because most people don't really talk about it. All right, next we'll take a look at the accessories that come with Beast Gohan. And we've got our Ultimate Gohan here for the assist, since there is at least one accessory that is designed to be used with Ultimate Gohan, and then others that can also optionally be used with him, as it turns out. So I'm going to carefully open the tray, and let's go ahead and try the Ultimate Gohan piece first. I probably won't try swapping every single hand that is included here, but we'll do a couple of them, especially as we go through his poses. Okay, so this is meant to be a mid-transformation face. You can see it's just like an Ultimate Gohan face with the black eyebrows, but his eyes have started to turn red. The faceplate, transformation faceplate, it plugs into the bangs first. You have to push it up. It's interesting, it's retained the different ear sculpt. I guess his ears get more square as he transforms. I'm just joking. I don't think that's a thing. Let's see. Then the bangs and forehead peg into the back of the hair together. Okay, this face is labeled E, and that's just to tell, it's for both the instructions reference, but also it tells whoever's packaging this what order to put the faces in. I guess they go top to bottom, left to right, A, B, C. Actually, A goes on the figure, and then B, C, D, B, C, D, and then E. So, let's see. I am trying to line this up so the face and the hair can go on together, and that fits pretty nicely. Let's go ahead and pop it on the figure. And so this captures Gohan just as he is transforming. All right, let's go ahead and pose him powering up. I like to put the arms up and back at the shoulders for this kind of pose. Kind of lean his body forward. And maybe he's a little off balance because it's a new transformation. Let's see, and let's try to pose Beast Gohan to match. So we'll get the gritted teeth face. We'll get out the gritting teeth face for Beast Gohan and swap that on. And it swaps in the exact same way as Ultimate Gohan. You can see this was the default face, and it is labeled A. Take the bangs out, and then take the face out of the bangs. Go ahead and put face C. That is not wanting to fit. Give me a second. All right, it's just a tight fit, but it does eventually go nice and flush. And then we've got a couple rows of pegs to go into the main hair piece. And when the new form appears, he's probably going to straighten his back or arch back a little bit. More upright. Make sure you get these wrists bent up. There we go. Like that. Got to get the left one now. You always want to curl them up towards the elbow when they're doing kind of powering up pose. There we go. And then we'll take these two color LEDs here, red, one set to red and one set to purple. If you move the light around in a video, it gives you kind of an aura effect. So that's pretty cool. Let's do like this. That looks pretty good, I think.